You can feel it in the air, can't you? That low hum of recession anxiety. You see the headlines, you hear your friends talking about it, and it's easy to feel powerless, like you're just strapped into a roller coaster you never wanted to ride. But panic isn't a plan. Panic is the enemy. Panic is what makes people cash out their 401ks at the very bottom, run up credit card debt they can't handle, and make mistakes that haunt them for years. This video is the antidote. This is the clear, 5-step playbook I'm using to protect my own money, sidestep those brutal mistakes, and build real financial security before the storm truly hits. We're not talking about vague theories or burying gold in your backyard. This is a concrete game plan. We're going to swap that free-floating anxiety for a focused strategy so you can stop worrying about what the economy might do and start taking control of what your money will do. Let's get into it. Before we jump into the 5 moves, we have to be brutally honest about what we're up against. When most people hear recession, they picture a stock market chart falling off a cliff. And yeah, that's part of it, but it's not the real danger to your financial life. The stock market is just a symptom. The actual disease of a recession, the thing that truly wrecks people, is a cash flow crisis. Think it through. A recession means businesses get nervous and slow down. To survive, they slash costs. That means layoffs, cut hours, frozen salaries, and bonuses that just vanish. All of a sudden, the income you count on feels shaky, or it disappears completely. At the exact same time, prices for everything still feel high, and those credit card and loan payments, they don't stop. They become lead weights dragging you underwater. That's the vice. Your income goes down, but your bills don't. And that's where the panic starts. Without a plan, people are forced into terrible choices. They raid their retirement accounts, locking in huge losses and torching their future. They sell their best investments right at the market bottom, turning a temporary dip on a screen into a permanent, real-world loss. They start swiping the credit card just for groceries, digging a hole that gets deeper and deeper every single month. I saw this happen to so many smart people in 2008. They weren't ruined by the S&P 500. They were ruined because they had no buffer, no plan. They were forced to react out of pure fear, and those reactions cost them everything. This playbook is designed to make sure that doesn't happen to you. It's not about being a genius who can time the market. It's about building a fortress around your personal cash flow. It's about making sure that no matter what the headlines say, you are never a forced seller of your assets, and you are never a forced borrower of toxic debt. You stay in the driver's seat. You have options. You have control. So, let's build that fortress. Here's the first, most critical move. This first move is about survival. It's defensive, but it's the most powerful one we've got. We have to ruthlessly attack high-interest debt. Think of things like credit cards, buy now, pay later loans, and personal loans as holes in the hull of your financial ship. When the water's calm, you might not even notice the trickles. But when a recession storm hits, those little leaks can sink you faster than anything. In a recession, your income becomes fragile. That 22% APR on your credit card doesn't care. It's a relentless machine draining your cash. And when things get tight, that drain becomes catastrophic. High-interest debt can easily consume hundreds, sometimes thousands per month in interest and minimums. Think about what you could do with that. Build your emergency savings, invest, or just finally breathe. So, how do we do it? We need a cold, calculated strategy. This is financial surgery. First, we use the debt avalanche method. You've probably heard of the debt snowball, where you pay off the smallest debts first for a quick psychological win. It feels good, but math is a harsh mistress, and the avalanche is just way more efficient. Here's how it works. You make the minimum payments on all your debts. Then, you take every single extra dollar you can find and throw it at the one debt with the absolute highest interest rate, no matter the balance. So if you have a $3,000 credit card at 24% APR and a $10,000 car loan at 7%, you ignore the car loan and attack that 24% credit card with everything you've got. Why? Because it's costing you the most money every single day. By killing the most expensive debt first, You save a ton in interest and get out of debt faster. Second, automate it. Willpower is a finite resource. The best way to stick to the plan is to set up automatic payments. Automate your minimums so you never miss one. Then, set up an automatic extra payment to your highest interest debt. It just happens, like your Netflix subscription. No willpower required. Third, look for a shortcut with a 0% balance transfer card. These can be a game changer. You move your high interest balance to a new card that charges 0 interest for a year or more. This pauses the clock, letting every dollar you pay go straight to the principal. But be careful. There's usually a transfer fee of 3 to 5%, and you must have a plan to pay off the entire balance before that intro period ends. If you don't, the rate can shoot up, and you're right back where you started. You have to do this now. As a recession gets closer, banks get stingy. Those great balance transfer offers dry up. The window to manage your debt closes when the storm arrives, not before. This is your foundation. Patch the holes in the ship now. Tonight, write down every debt, the APR and the minimum payment. Highest APR becomes target number 1. This next move is about stability. Once we've stopped the bleeding from debt, we build our primary defense, the cash shield. A lot of people hear stat cash and they picture someone stuffing bills under a mattress, getting ready for the apocalypse. That is not what this is. This is a strategic tool with one very specific job: to prevent you from ever becoming a forced seller of your assets. Here's what that means. Let's say the market tanks 30%. Your $100,000 portfolio is suddenly worth $70,000. It's a painful loss on paper, but then real life happens. Your transmission dies, or worse, you get laid off. You need $5,000, and you need it now. If you have no cash reserve, where does that money come from? You're forced to sell $5,000 of your investments at the absolute bottom of the market. You've just turned a temporary, recoverable paper loss into a permanent, real-world loss. You've locked in the damage. The cash shield is the buffer that stops this from happening. It's a pile of boring, liquid money that handles emergencies so your long-term investments can be left alone to do their thing. The market has always recovered from every downturn in history, but you only get to profit from that recovery if you can afford to stay in the game. So how big should it be? The old advice was 3 to 6 months of living expenses. But heading into a potentially rough patch, I strongly recommend a more conservative goal: 6 to 12 months of your essential living expenses. Notice I said essential. This isn't 12 months of your full income. It's 12 months of your gotta-have-it budget: rent or mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, and minimum debt payments. If that number is $4,000 a month, your target is $24,000 to $48,000. Now, where does this money live? Not in your checking account, where you might accidentally spend it, and definitely not under the mattress, where inflation eats it alive. The perfect home for your cash shield is a high-yield savings account, HYSA, or a money market fund. These accounts are safe, usually FDIC insured up to $250,000. You can get your money out quickly, and they pay a decent interest rate, so your cash can at least put up a fight against inflation. You'll hear finance gurus say cash is trash, especially when inflation is high. And from a pure investment angle, they're right. But in a recession, the role of cash changes. Its job isn't to make you rich. Its job is to provide security. When jobs are shaky and credit is tight, liquidity is king. Your cash shield isn't an investment, it's insurance. It's the moat around your castle that protects all the real wealth-building assets inside. This one is about conviction. With our defenses up, debt handled, cash shield built, we can turn to the assets we already have. This next move is probably the hardest one psychologically, but it's the key to coming out of a recession richer than when you went in. The move is this: defend your quality assets by refusing to panic sell. Every nerve in your body will scream at you to sell when the market is a sea of red. Your portfolio value will shrink, the news will be terrifying, and the fear of losing it all feels very, very real. But selling in a panic is the most destructive thing you can do for your long-term wealth. Cashing out after the market has already dropped 30% doesn't protect you. It just locks in your losses and guarantees you'll miss the recovery that follows. The key word here is quality. We are not talking about defending some meme stock you bought on a whim. We're talking about your ownership in genuinely good businesses. A quality asset is a company or a fund with solid fundamentals, low debt, consistent profits, strong cash flow, and a product that people need even when money is tight. These are the companies strong enough to survive a storm and often come out even stronger when their weaker competitors fold. So, how do you know if you're holding quality? Here's a simple test for anything in your portfolio. If this exact investment was on sale for 30% off today, would I be excited to buy it? If the answer is heck yes, then why on earth would you sell it now? A recession doesn't change the quality of a great business. It just changes the market's moody perception of it. A recession is basically a Black Friday sale for great assets. You wouldn't sell your house for half price just because your neighbors are panicking, so don't do it with your ownership in great companies. This is where you need conviction. If you own broad market index funds, like an S&P 500 ETF, your conviction is in the 500 biggest companies in America to keep growing over the long run. History is very much on your side there. If you own individual stocks, you need that same deep belief in those specific businesses. The whole point of this move is to separate an asset's price from its value. The price is what the market feels like paying today, driven by fear and greed. The value is its real long-term earning power. In a recession, price and value can get wildly disconnected. Your job is to ignore the price and hold on to the value. Do that, and you'll be handsomely rewarded when the panic finally ends. All right, time to shift from defense to offense. The first three moves were about building a fortress to survive the storm. This move is about creating a strike force to go out into that storm and capture opportunities. This is the move that can seriously accelerate your wealth. We're going to build an opportunity fund. First, let's be crystal clear. This is not your emergency fund. Your cash shield from move number 2 is sacred. It has one job: protect you. Don't touch it. The opportunity fund is a totally separate pile of cash. Its job is to go to work buying up discounted assets when fear is peaking. Recessions are, ironically, one of the greatest times to build wealth. They put everything on sale. Fantastic companies, index funds, real estate. It all gets marked down because of widespread panic. This is when fortunes are made. Like the old saying goes, the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. Your opportunity fund is your war chest for that exact moment. This fund is what lets you act when the dashboard turns red. So how do you build it? I suggest setting aside about 10 to 20% of your liquid assets for this. Rule: if you're still carrying credit card debt, your opportunity fund is paying that off first. If you have $50,000 in savings, your opportunity fund might be between $5,000 and $10,000. It needs to be kept safe and liquid, just like your cash shield. But mentally, and maybe even in a separate account, it's labeled for offense only. You build this fund slowly, during times of relative calm. You're not trying to perfectly time the market top. You're just getting your dry powder ready. So when things get crazy, you're prepared to act rationally. And what do you buy with it? You're not gambling. You're buying quality at a discount. For most people, the best and simplest options are broad market index funds or ETFs. Buying an S&P 500 index fund when the market is down 30% is a historically proven winning strategy. You're literally buying a slice of the whole American economy on sale. If you've done your homework, you can also use this fund to buy shares of those individual high-quality companies you love. For those with a higher risk tolerance, A small piece could even go to a high conviction alternative like Bitcoin. The key is you're buying assets you want to hold for the long haul at a price you couldn't get a year or two before. This move completely flips the script on fear. While everyone else is freaking out, you're calmly executing your plan. You are methodically buying great assets for cents on the dollar. This is how you leave a recession not just having survived, but having set yourself up for a decade of growth. This is how you get ahead. This final move tackles a deeper, more primal fear that creeps up during bad recessions. What if I can't get to my money? What if the financial system itself gets jammed up? While a total meltdown is unlikely in a modern economy, the fear is real. So let's neutralize it with a few simple, logical steps. This is about building redundancy so you always have access to your lifeline. First, understand and use FDIC insurance. The FDIC insures your deposits up to $250,000 per person, per bank, for each account ownership category. So if your cash shield is getting close to that limit at one bank, the answer is simple. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Open another high-yield savings account at a different, unrelated bank and split the money. It costs nothing and gives you a huge layer of security. If one bank has a technical glitch for a day, you can just pull from another. Second, consider keeping a small amount of physical cash. I'm not talking about a doomsday hoard. I mean a practical amount for a true short-term emergency. Maybe $1,000 to $5,000, whatever you're comfortable with. This is your "the power is out and the ATMs are down" fund. Keep it somewhere safe at home. It's the final backup in your liquidity plan. Third, do some homework now and review the rules of your accounts. Is your cash shield in a CD with a penalty for early withdrawal? What are the daily transfer limits on your savings accounts? You don't want to find out you can only pull $1,000 a day when you suddenly need $5,000. Read the fine print before there's a fire. Knowledge kills panic. This entire move is about eliminating single points of failure. It's the financial version of having a spare tire and a first aid kit. You hope you never need them, but you're incredibly glad you have them if you do. By building redundancy, you remove one more thing to worry about. You're not stressed about one bank because you don't rely on just one bank. So let's wrap this up. This is the playbook. 5 concrete moves to take back control. 1. We triage our debt, stopping the cash drain from high-interest loans. 2. We forge a cash shield of 6 to 12 months of expenses, so we're never forced to sell our investments. 3. We defend our quality assets by having the conviction to hold on through the chaos. 4. We assemble an opportunity fund, ready to buy great investments on sale. 5. We de-risk our cash access so we're never cut off from our own money. You can't control inflation. You can't control the Federal Reserve. You can't control what happens in the world. But you can control these 5 things. You control your debt, your savings, your investment plan, and your preparation. This playbook is designed to turn you from a worrier into a warrior. It's a plan for turning economic weakness into your moment of personal financial strength. By taking these 5 steps, you're not just getting ready to survive a recession. You're positioning yourself to emerge from it calmer, stronger, and wealthier than before. That anxiety you're feeling? It's a call to action. Panic is what the crowd does. Execution is what winners do.